Hello, and welcome back to Fem Life. If you'd like to support me, please use my affiliate links mentioned below. Every purchase you make will bring me closer to my gender transition. Noah Peters let out a quiet moan, barely audible over the organ playing Here Comes the Bride. While everyone else in the church turned to admire the tall, dark-haired bride gliding down the aisle, Noah kept his gaze fixed on the floor. If anyone had noticed, they would have seen a single tear escape his eye. It felt like just yesterday when Noah's parents had separated. His father, Noah Sr., was a prominent partner at one of the city's most esteemed law firms. Noah bitterly remembered how things began to unravel when Samantha, his father's new assistant, replaced his father's longtime secretary. It didn't take long for an affair to start, leaving a conspicuous trail. Despite Noah's mother's desperate attempts to save their marriage, Noah Sr. wanted out. In a final act of defiance, he demanded sole custody of Noah, leaving his mother with only monthly visitation rights. Noah had come to loathe and fear Samantha in the short time he had known her. It didn't help that he went to school with her son, Biff, who was a year younger but larger and more feared due to his athletic reputation. Noah, small and quick-witted like his mother, had been intimidated by Biff even before Samantha started working for his father. The few times their parents had tried to get them to bond had only highlighted the gulf between them, with Biff treating Noah disdainfully. Noah's dislike for Biff was dwarfed by his hatred for Samantha. He couldn't understand why his father couldn't see that Samantha was a manipulative gold digger. Samantha's constant comparisons between Biff and Noah, emphasizing Biff's size and athleticism, only made Noah feel more inadequate and angry. Their animosity began the first time Noah met Samantha at his father's office. To introduce himself, Noah had squirted disappearing ink from a water pistol onto her white blouse. While the other secretaries laughed, Samantha's fury was palpable, leaving Noah terrified. He had never witnessed such rage before, and as he left, he could still hear her muttering about that horrible, nasty little brat. When Noah's father announced that he was marrying Samantha and that Noah would have a new stepbrother, Noah pleaded with him to reconsider. His father's final words were, "Get used to it." Now, on the wedding day, Noah's nightmare was about to reach a new level. Noah struggled emotionally as he dressed for the wedding, dreading the thought of living with Samantha and her son. The very idea was unbearable. Soon, however, he found himself at the back of the church, joining the other members of the wedding party. As the ushers seated the last few guests, Noah's anxiety surged when he saw Samantha approaching him, a predatory grin on her face. "Well, Noah, isn't this thrilling? Don't you just adore weddings?" Samantha said, locking her gaze with his. "What do you think of my dress? Isn't it charming?" Noah remained silent, avoiding her questions. Undeterred, Samantha continued, "I hope you like it because I thought you might want to wear something similar when you get married. If you fill out a bit, of course." She relished the look of shock and confusion on Noah's face. "Or maybe you'd prefer something a bit more feminine. Lots of bows and lace. Isn't that what Sissy's like?" Noah's heart raced as he realized what she was implying. "That's right, sweetheart. I know all about your little fashion show. Remember when your parents came back early from the opera and found you dressed up in your mom's clothes? I overheard your mother calling your dad at the office to argue about it. Your father was horrified that his only son was a little fairy. But you looked so sweet in your mom's Chanel. I saw the pictures, they were too precious to miss. Your dad asked me to develop some film, and I just had to see for myself. I even made extra copies for myself. Your father doesn't know I know. It's our little secret." "But it was a misunderstanding." Noah stammered, horrified. This woman knew his deepest, darkest secret, one he thought was long buried. "Of course it was, dear," she said with feigned sympathy. "Just like when you called me a gold-digging slut. I was listening then too. A girl needs to know what's going on. You picked the wrong woman to mess with. Oh, we're going to have so much fun, you and I." Samantha pinched Noah's cheek hard. Throughout the ceremony, Noah could think of nothing but the fact that Samantha knew his secret. What worried him more was what she intended to do with this knowledge. What kind of fun was she referring to? At the reception, Noah sat alone, wallowing in self-pity. Samantha had made sure none of his friends were invited, while Biff's friends were obnoxiously present, and Samantha's loud, manipulative friends congratulated her on snagging a wealthy husband. Her days as a secretary were over. Now she was a trophy wife with a rich husband who was completely under her control. Samantha's friends were just like her, boisterous, pushy, and high maintenance. Noah was so absorbed in his gloomy thoughts that he didn't notice Samantha's friends surrounding him. Before he could react, the cackling women had grabbed him by the arms and lifted him from his seat. "There you are, sweetie. Dreaming about your wedding day? Samantha says when you get married, it'll be to some handsome guy. She says you'll be the bride, won't you?" As Noah tried to protest, the women ushered him into the main room of the reception hall. Overwhelmed by their boldness, Noah's head spun. As he struggled to break free, something flew towards his face. Acting on instinct, he reached up and caught it. When he realized what had happened, he was shocked to find he had caught the bouquet. The women surrounded him, laughing and teasing him about being the next bride. Flashbulbs popped as the wedding photographer snapped photo after photo of the boy with the bouquet. When Noah met Samantha's gaze, a chill ran through him. Her look was feral and predatory, striking fear into him. He only felt relief when Samantha and his father finally left for the limousine that would take them to the airport. With his father and new stepmother heading to Paris for their 2-week honeymoon, Noah had time to reflect on the revelations from the wedding. He thought ruefully about the night he had done something he regretted, trying on his mother's clothes. It had been, he realized, a foolish mistake. With his parents out for the evening and boredom setting in, Noah had endlessly flipped through channels until he stumbled upon a talk show about boys who want to be girls. Intrigued by the guests discussing the fun and fulfillment of dressing and acting like girls, Noah decided to see for himself. Nervously, Noah entered his mother's spacious walk-in closet, his heart racing. He was surprised by the sheer amount of clothing. What should he choose? Then he spotted a familiar outfit, a navy blue knit suit with white braid trim and gold buttons. His father referred to it as his mother's Jamesy Onassis suit, one of her favorites for special occasions. Deciding to go all the way, Noah selected panties, pantyhose, and a bra to wear underneath. His hands shook as he tried on the unfamiliar garments. After donning the suit and matching pumps, Noah attempted to apply some of his mother's makeup, mimicking what he had seen her do. He even found the matching purse and hat she sometimes wore. Looking at himself in the mirror, Noah felt neither the satisfaction nor excitement described by the boys on television. Instead, he was filled with revulsion and embarrassment. He couldn't understand how any real man could enjoy dressing as a girl. Noah concluded that the whole thing was likely staged for TV. He shuddered at the thought of appearing in public dressed like that. How ironic, he later mused, given what had happened next. Relieved that he was not interested in cross-dressing in the least, Noah had allowed himself to indulge in a bit of horseplay. He began mugging for the mirror, primping, preening, gesturing, and generally acting as girly as he could as a final act of comedic catharsis before he changed after wearing women's clothing for the first and, as far as he was concerned, last time. This went on for a few minutes until he saw the two faces at the doorway. Two shocked and angry faces. Noah's mouth literally dropped open at the sight. Although there was no way Noah could know it at the time, his parents had fought bitterly at the restaurant, deciding that attending the opera together was more than either could bear. Now his parents directed their pent-up anger toward him. His dad had been furious. Insisting that Noah remain dressed, he ranted on and on about how unfair it was that he had a little fairy for a son. His mother had been mad on that score, too, calling him a pervert and a panty-waist. She actually said that she had suspected of someone getting into her things for some time. Noah's mother was also livid that Noah had violated her privacy in that fashion. She told him that she'd never be able to wear the outfit again, so he might as well keep it. Besides, it looks simply divine on you, she mocked. Noah desperately and tearfully tried to explain that it was a one-time thing, that he hated it, and that he never wanted to wear women's clothes again. He tried to tell his parents about the television show. His mother had refused to believe him, and insisted that she knew that he had been in her things. Noah's tearful assurances to the contrary fell on deaf ears. Noah's mother actually made him take the outfit to the dry cleaners the next day, have it cleaned, and hang it in his closet for the next time he had a special occasion when he wanted to wear it. Noah cringed when he remembered how the girl at the dry cleaners had snickered when he brought it in. Knowing that the suit was his mother's didn't stop the pretty teen from teasing Noah about how darling his outfit was. Noah's mom also laundered the underthings he had been wearing, and had placed them prominently in his underwear drawer. It was actually his mother who had insisted on taking pictures of him when his parents caught him dressed, so everyone can see what a big fairy boy you are. But it was his father's idea that he should prance around like he had been doing while they watched. Consequently, the picture showed a young teen boy in a very feminine outfit, a little too large for him, with a big, fake smile as he posed in feminine fashion for the camera. Every time tears had overcome Noah, his mother had stopped, repaired his makeup, and forced him to continue until the whole role was exposed. His mother then made him undress in front of her, shaking her head in disgust as he peeled off her bra and panties. Noah was mortified as his mother and father watched as he removed handfuls of tissues from his mother's bra. The next few days were awful, as both parents had regarded him like he was some kind of freak. Noah had repeatedly tried to explain, but his father had forbidden him to talk about it. His mother simply regarded him with a mixture of anger and contempt. Nonetheless, Noah went out of his way to be as macho as possible over the next few days in an effort to convince his parents that he was normal. Even so, he would catch one or both of them staring at him from time to time, disgust etched in their faces. Fortunately, over time, his dad appeared to forget about the incident. After all, Senior had more important matters that needed his attention at the office. His mother, however, never seemed to let it go. Noah Sr.'s tendency to blame the incident on his wife's domineering behavior only worsened the situation, as he used it as an excuse in arguments about his infidelity. Ms. Peters felt deeply betrayed by Noah and resented him for giving his father more reasons to justify his philandering. Just when Noah thought she had moved past the incident, as he began to call it, she would say or do something that made it clear she hadn't forgotten. For instance, in public, she would often comment on a woman's outfit with a derisive tone, suggesting that Noah would look divine in it. On one occasion, she even approached a young woman, saying, "Excuse me, miss. My son was just admiring your dress and said he'd love to have one like it. Can you tell us where you got it?" Noah was mortified as the laughing girl gave a detailed description of the dress and how perfect it would be for him. On another occasion, following a heated argument with her husband, Ms. Peters had insisted that Noah join her for a trip to the mall. Noah, sensing his mother's anger, grew increasingly anxious, especially when she parked outside Neiman Marcus, her favorite store. As they entered, Ms. Peters marched through the store with her distressed teenage son trailing behind her until they reached the department filled with elegant dresses and outfits similar to the one Noah had worn that fateful night. A well-groomed young saleswoman greeted Ms. Peters warmly with a hug. Noah listened in horror as his mother explained that she needed new outfits and had brought Noah along to help her choose since he seemed to wear her clothes as often as she did. She even showed the salesgirl the photos. Noah's face turned red with embarrassment as the saleswoman struggled to contain her laughter at the sight of the presumed sissy boy. She led Noah to a settee in the changing area, just for us girls, while she and her assistants brought out outfit after outfit for Ms. Peters to try on. The salesgirls enjoyed having Noah hold each dress up in front of a large mirror, asking for his opinion with phrases like, "Isn't this just darling? You'd look so cute in this if you could get your mommy to let you borrow it. Isn't this dress dreamy?" They even made him hand the garments into the dressing room for his mother. To Noah's horror, they brought a couple of smaller sizes for him to try on, suggesting a mother-daughter look. His mother grinned wickedly as they stood side by side in matching pink knit dresses. The salesgirls delighted in teasing and playing dress-up with the teen. Up until the day she left, Noah was unsure whether his mother ever believed he was a normal boy. He took solace in the hope that, with the divorce, the incident might eventually be forgotten or recalled later as a childish prank. Now, with Samantha's presence making that impossible, Noah could only hope that Samantha was merely joking and would eventually forget about his cross-dressing experiment. When the newlyweds returned home, Noah was desperate to talk with Samantha and try to mend their relationship. He found her in the master bedroom unpacking an array of luxurious items from her trip. The room was filled with boxes from high-end brands Noah recognized: Chanel, Givenchy, St. Noah Knits, Adolfo, and more. As Samantha eagerly began unpacking, Noah interrupted. Samantha? Can I speak with you for a moment? I think you've misunderstood me, Noah began hesitantly. Samantha stopped and stared at him, her expression unreadable. Summoning his courage, he continued, I wasn't joking on the wedding day. I'm really not a sissy. That whole incident with my mom's clothes was a misunderstanding. Let's just forget about it. I know we didn't start off on the right foot. I'm sorry for what I said and for spraying you. Can't we just be friends? He pleaded, trying to appear earnest. Samantha crossed the room and grabbed Noah's chin roughly. What's the matter? Don't you like feeling humiliated? Enjoy the embarrassment of being seen as a pansy, a panty-wearing fairy? It's like being the target of a practical joke, isn't it? Like when you sprayed ink all over my blouse? She let go of his chin and continued, well, I like jokes too. This time, the joke's on you. You're going to be my little toy. My very own Ken to dress up like Barbie. Noah could see in her eyes that she wasn't joking. He was more frightened than ever of the manipulative woman and retreated to his room, dreading what the future might hold. The next morning, as Noah was getting dressed for school, Samantha barged into his room without knocking. Good morning, dearie. Before Noah could react, Samantha sprayed him with a cloud of strong perfume. Samantha! What are you doing? That stuff reeks. Noah protested. I just thought you'd enjoy trying out my new perfume from Paris. Isn't it lovely? It's Chanel. Since you adore their clothes, I figured you'd love their scent too. Samantha, are you out of your mind? I can't go to school smelling like that. What will people think? They'll think you're the kind of boy who likes wearing women's perfume to smell pretty. That's what, she said sharply. Noah was reminded of the way his mother used to smell when she was getting dressed up for special occasions. He prayed the scent would dissipate before school. At breakfast, Samantha wasted no time in teasing Noah. As she sat down, she sniffed the air dramatically. That's odd, she said, feigning confusion. It almost smells like someone's wearing my new perfume. But that's silly. I'm the only girl in the house. Surely none of you macho men would wear women's perfume. It must be my imagination, she added brightly. Noah wanted to argue, but he knew Samantha would deny it and make him look like a liar. He stayed silent, feeling his face flush as he noticed his father's puzzled look. Noah finished his breakfast quickly and rushed out the door, avoiding eye contact with his father as much as possible. School turned out to be a disaster. Noah had hoped the feminine scent would fade as he hurried to class, but as he walked and his body warmed up, the fragrance only grew stronger. He tried to convince himself it was just in his head, but any illusion that he could hide the scent vanished as soon as he sat down. Becky Johnson, a pretty blonde he had a crush on, sat in front of him in homeroom. She quickly began sniffing the air, trying to pinpoint the source of the floral scent. Just as she turned to look at Noah with curiosity, the teacher entered the room. The teacher took a few steps, then announced loudly, "All right, which one of you girls has gotten into her mother's Chanel No. 5? She scanned the room as the class tittered, eager to identify the culprit. Noah sank low in his seat, wishing he could disappear. Come on, girls, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. His face burning, Noah slowly raised his hand. Yes, Noah, what is it? It's me. I mean, it's the perfume, he stammered. The class erupted in laughter as the teacher tried to restore order. Noah scrambled for an excuse. I'm sorry. My stepmother must have accidentally spilled some of her perfume on me this morning, and I didn't have time to wash it off. The teacher looked at Noah with a hint of curiosity. The excuse seemed plausible. Why else would a 13-year-old boy smell like expensive women's perfume? Yet, his embarrassment was evident. She decided to have a little fun at his expense. Well, I never thought I'd have to lecture a boy about wearing too much perfume, but I guess there's a first time for everything. Noah, the same rule applies to you as to the girls. If you're going to wear mommy's perfume, remember that a little goes a long way. We don't want the EPA shutting us down for air quality violations. Noah's face turned a deeper shade of red as the students laughed at him. The rest of the day was no better. Kids kept approaching Noah, sniffing deeply and commenting on how pretty he smelled. Becky, trying to be supportive, mentioned that Chanel was her mother's favorite and that she liked it too. But even that did little to lift Noah's spirits. At lunch, he sat alone, hoping for some peace, but his hopes were dashed when Biff and a group of his classmates loudly took a seat at his table. Hey guys, have I introduced you to my little sister, Noah? Can you believe he's in 8th grade? Biff leaned over and inhaled deeply. Well, don't you smell pretty today, Nohi? Mom was worried you wouldn't like her new perfume, but I guess you really do, don't you, pansy boy? Shut up, asshole, Noah muttered, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Oh. No need to get testy, sissy. I might have to tell your mommy, Biff taunted, mimicking a scolding tone. He and his friends laughed as they walked away, leaving Noah alone with his mortification. After dinner, Samantha barged into Noah's room without knocking. Darling, I've just heard a very disappointing report about you, she began with a mock-serious tone. Good little girly boys don't talk back to their big brothers. It's simply not proper. Besides, it might make mommy mad. To drive her point home, Samantha pinched Noah's ear hard. I think you'd better apologize to your brother, don't you? And from now on, no more complaints from you. Understand? Yes, ma'am, Noah yelped, his ear throbbing with pain. Good. Now go apologize. That's a good girlie. Noah trudged down the hallway to Biff's room, muttering curses under his breath. As he entered, Biff's nasty grin made it clear he was fully aware of what was about to happen. As Noah began to mumble a half-hearted apology, Biff sprang from his desk, twisting Noah's arm behind him with painful force. Listen, queer bait. If you ever disrespect me again, I'll make sure you regret it. Got it? Noah nodded frantically, gasping in pain. He couldn't believe how strong Biff was. Good. Now tell me what a faggy little sissy boy you are. Noah hesitated until Biff twisted his arm more forcefully. Wincing, Noah cried out, I'm a faggy little sissy boy. I'm a faggy little sissy boy. There. Doesn't it feel good to admit the truth? Now go play with your dollies. Biff pushed Noah roughly to the floor. Noah quickly retreated to his room, overwhelmed with tears as he grappled with the harsh new family dynamics. The next morning, Noah dressed swiftly, anxious about another potential visit from Samantha. Breakfast was calm, though Noah had to endure Biff boasting about his football team's success while Samantha beamed and encouraged him. Noah's father appeared impressed and promised to attend Biff's games. Noah sat silently, plotting how to regain his father's favor and get Samantha off his back. That night, Samantha continued her manipulative game. As she and Noah Sr. prepared for bed, she adopted a puzzled tone. Darling? Yes, hon. It's the oddest thing. Since we returned from our honeymoon, I've had this strange feeling that someone has been tampering with my things. My new dresses and skirts are all here, but they're not where I left them. It's almost as if someone's been trying them on. She paused, for effect. But that's absurd. I live with 3 men. What guy would be interested in wearing the latest Parisian fashions? How ridiculous, she laughed. It must be my imagination. Samantha subtly gauged Noah Sr.'s reaction, noting the concerned look on his face. She smiled to herself as she climbed into bed, confident that her plan was unfolding perfectly. Before breakfast the next morning, Noah received an unexpected visitor, his father, who was fuming with anger. "Noah, what in the hell do you think you're doing?" Noah was caught off guard and could only stammer as his father continued his furious rant. "You told me, no, you promised me it was a one-time thing, that you weren't some kind of fruit." "Dad, what are you talking about?" "Cut the crap. I know you've been prancing around in Samantha's clothes whenever you get the chance. Your mother was right about you. You're just a big sissy." "But Dad, I haven't done that." "Really? Save your excuses. Don't lie to me. It better stop right now, do you hear me? I won't tolerate it under my roof. Understand? If it doesn't..." Noah Sr. sputtered, pointing angrily. "Sure, Dad, but..." Noah Sr. cut him off with a dismissive wave as he stormed out of the room. Noah was certain that Samantha was behind this. He could feel his father's burning glare throughout breakfast, while Samantha wore a smug grin. She even stuck her tongue out and winked at him when his father buried himself in the morning paper. Noah's face flushed with anger and frustration. Over the next few days, Noah avoided Samantha and Biff as much as possible. However, on Friday, Samantha was waiting for him after school. "Oh, good, you're home. We don't have much time before your father gets back, so let's get started." Realizing Samantha was up to no good, Noah tried to bolt for the door. But Biff, who had arrived home before him, quickly blocked his path and roughly twisted Noah's arm behind him, causing him to wince in pain. "Now, Noah," Samantha said with a mocking tone, "we're just going to have a little fun. I know how much you enjoy playing dress up, I have the pictures to prove it. I'm disappointed you haven't asked to wear my things." "What's the matter? Not prissy enough for you? I'm sure we can find something you'll like." "Well, at least one of us will." Samantha laughed heartily at her own joke. As Biff pushed him into the master bedroom, Noah's eyes widened in horror at the sight of a pink evening gown laid out on the bed, complete with matching pumps, long gloves, a beaded evening bag, and even a jeweled tiara. Samantha picked up the long, strapless dress and held it against Noah's trembling body. "Isn't it just dreamy? It screams femininity. I bought it in Paris just for you. It's way too small for me. Now let's get you dressed." Noah pleaded as Samantha waited for him to start undressing. "Please, Samantha. Don't do this. My dad already thinks I'm some kind of fairy. If he sees me dressed like this, he'll be furious. Please, I'll do whatever you want. Just not this." "No, dear, you're being so silly. That's exactly the point. We want your father to see just what kind of sniveling little pantywaist he has for a son." Samantha and Biff snickered as tears streamed down Noah's face. "Now get undressed, or I'll have Biff help you." Within minutes, Noah stared forlornly in the mirror as Samantha made the final touches to his makeup. "There. I think that looks like the kind of makeup job a 13-year-old boy would do. Don't you just look precious? So girlish. So garish. Oh, there's your father's car. Don't you move a muscle," she growled as she pushed him back on the bed. Noah listened tearfully as he waited for the inevitable explosion. After all, he had some experience in being caught wearing women's clothes. As the door from the garage opened, Noah could hear Samantha bawling. What an actress, he thought bitterly. He heard Samantha tearfully tell Noah Sr. about how she had returned from shopping to find Noah in her bedroom. At that point, Samantha strategically shed a few more fake tears. And he was wearing my things. Noah heard her exclaim breathlessly. Noah Sr. reached the door in seconds flat. Damn it, he exploded. Not again. What did I tell you? You just couldn't keep from prancing around in Samantha's clothes. Noah knew that denials would only make matters worse, so he just hung his head. As Samantha sniffled and tried to regain her composure, she interrupted. And dear, there's more. I found these under Noah's mattress when I was making his bed. With a practiced wide-eyed innocence, Samantha handed Noah Sr. a stack of papers and booklets. Although Noah couldn't see what the materials were, he knew they didn't come from his room. Whatever it was, it made his father even angrier. I'll deal with you later, Noah Sr. exclaimed through gritted teeth. With that, he threw the materials down at Noah's feet and slammed the door shut, leaving Noah alone with his self-pity. However, when Noah picked up some of the papers, he really began to feel sorry for himself. On top was a printout of a web page, apparently designed for teenage transgenders. How to Become the Girl You Are Inside was the horrifying title of the article. The next item was entitled, How to Attract a Boyfriend, a Teen Sissy's Guide to Dating. Noah was aghast, imagining what his father must be thinking. Samantha, that bitch. The rest of the articles and booklets were equally sickening, a young sissy's guide to estrogen, grow your own chest, fall fashions for today's young sissy, just like mommy, dresses for the sissy sophisticate, and the latest in lingerie for boys. Noah fell back on the bed, his eyes brimming with tears. After what seemed like an eternity, Samantha entered the room, followed closely by his father. Noah was somewhat relieved to see that his father had calmed somewhat. As his father stood near the doorway, his eyes averted, Samantha sat down next to Noah and slipped her arm around Noah's shoulder in a sisterly fashion. Noah, your father and I have been doing a lot of talking. Samantha continued in a soft, empathetic tone that barely covered her wicked amusement. I must confess that when I saw you, all prettied up in my new evening gown like a little princess, I was shocked. I had no idea that you were anything other than a normal teenaged boy. But you've been pretending, haven't you? Samantha paused sympathetically before continuing in a saccharine tone. The perfume, the misplaced clothes in my closet, it all makes sense now. And now your father tells me this isn't the first time you've worn a dress, is it? Noah shook his head mutely, fearing where the conversation was heading. Well, as you can imagine, your father is quite upset that you aren't the son he had hoped for. But I've reassured him that he has a new son now, Biff. A real boy, an athlete. Someone he can bond with over guy things. I explained to him that you're different. You're a special individual who needs to express his femininity through his clothes, his mannerisms, his interests, and according to the web pages you've been exploring, even his love life. You poor thing, living a horrible lie all this time, haven't you? I told your father I know a lot about boys like you. I did quite a bit of work in psychology before I had to drop out. Samantha chuckled, thinking about her college days, which had been more focused on parties and intimacy than academics. Your father has agreed, though it's painful for him, to support you in pursuing what makes you happy, even if it means you being more like a daughter than a son. And he's agreed that, since I have expertise in this area, I'll be in charge of helping you realize your dreams. Isn't that wonderful? We'll be like sisters. But no more sneaking around, understand? And of course, you'll need to follow my instructions exactly, or there will be consequences. It's all for your own good. Samantha gently stroked his hair and adjusted the gown he was wearing. Noah broke down in tears again when he realized that Samantha now had free rein from his father to impose her will. As he wept, Samantha merely pulled him into her arms and cooed, "Go ahead and cry, dear." Tears of joy never hurt anyone. The next morning, a Saturday, Noah trudged to breakfast with a heavy heart. Oh, there you are, sleepyhead. Hurry up. The boys are heading out to play golf, and you and I have some shopping to do, Samantha said cheerfully. Noah had no desire to accompany his tormentor anywhere. He turned to his father. Can I play golf too? Please? Samantha answered for him. Don't be silly. It's just the guys talking about sports and cars. Nothing you'd be interested in. Now, help me clear the dishes. A girl's got to do her part, you know. Before long, Noah found himself in the car with Samantha. After a short drive, they arrived at a storefront on the town's upscale shopping street, affectionately dubbed Rodeo Drive by the local women. The store, like the others on the street, was luxurious and stylish, with large display windows adorned with ornate pink and white awnings decorated with bows and ribbons. Through one window, Noah spotted what looked like a beauty salon, while the others showcased expensive women's clothing displayed on mannequins posed in very feminine styles. Noah hoped they were just passing by, but Samantha was clearly leading him toward the store's entrance. The store's name, written in elegant, feminine script on the glass door, took Noah several moments of intense focus to decipher. To his horror, it read, "The Sissy Mister." In disbelief, Noah noticed that the mannequins dressed in elaborate, feminine outfits were actually boys. Though he instinctively tried to pull away, Samantha's grip was too strong, and he soon found himself inside the most extravagant, most feminine store he had ever seen. It was far worse than the ladies' department at Neiman Marcus. The shop was furnished with French provincial furniture upholstered in pink and white silk chintz. Every detail was delicate and dainty, screaming femininity. Noah's eyes darted around, his horror growing with every glance. He saw an older woman holding a frilly dress against a younger boy, exclaiming how darling he would look. The boy's face was a mask of fear and embarrassment, while his sister laughed and pointed. In another corner, a group of girls were selecting just the right shoes and hat for a boy in a girl's short set, who stood red-faced as they chose a pair of spectator pumps for his outfit. From a nearby dressing area, Noah could hear a young boy's tearful pleas as he begged his mother and sister not to make him dress like a sissy girl. Noah was so stunned that he almost didn't notice the imposing woman striding toward them. Her short dark hair and tall stature exuded authority, and Noah instinctively felt a pang of fear. As she approached, a wide, predatory grin spread across her face. "Ladies, welcome to the Sissy Mister." Though she addressed both Samantha and Noah, her gaze lingered on Noah as if assessing her next target. Finally, she shifted her attention. "I'm Doris Montgomery. Welcome to my little establishment. How can I assist you today?" Samantha quickly responded, "Doris, it's wonderful to meet you. We spoke on the phone. I'm Samantha Peters, and this," she said, roughly positioning Noah in front of her, "is my son, Nohi. Actually, he's my stepson, but we've grown so close that I consider him my own. Little Nohi here is a special boy, more girl than boy, really. I've heard you work wonders with boys like him." "Oh, we certainly do, Samantha. In fact, it's boys like your Noah who are the reason we're in business," Ms. Montgomery said, guiding them toward an area that looked like her office. Once they were seated, Noah sandwiched between them, Ms. Montgomery picked up a remote control. "Let's start with this. We have a video that explains our services." She directed their attention to a large flat-screen display and began the tape. The video was professionally produced, and Samantha was quickly captivated. On screen, Ms. Montgomery spoke about her experience working in retail stores for fashionable young ladies and her realization that many boys, sissy boys, had unmet needs. While she could provide them with conventional feminine apparel, there were no products or services tailored specifically for their true natures to make their girlish dreams come true. With the help of radical feminist fashion designers, psychologists, and medical professionals, Ms. Montgomery had created the Sissy Mister. Ms. Montgomery continued her presentation on screen while the camera followed her through the store. Her first stop was the lavish 60s-style beauty salon located within the boutique. Behind her, a large, stern-faced woman was roughly applying curlers to a distressed boy's longish hair. Nearby, a chic woman and a girl, presumably the boy's mother and sister, watched with evident amusement, the sister occasionally taking photos to the boy's visible discomfort. The boy's tearful pleas could barely be heard in the background. "Mom, make her stop. I'm sorry. I'll do anything. I don't want a permanent. The guys at school will kill me. Please, Mom. Noah winced as he saw the mother and daughter exchange smiles and giggles. The mother's reply came with a condescending tone, "But dear, you want to look your best for your school picture tomorrow, don't you? Hold still so Hazel can get your curls just right. And Janie, won't your brother look adorable with his eyebrows plucked?" On screen, Ms. Montgomery moved to a display of meticulously arranged feminine clothing. As she elaborated on the care and craftsmanship of each SM garment, another unsettling scene unfolded behind her. A boy roughly Noah's age stood on one of the mirrored platforms in a black chiffon off-the-shoulder party dress with a full, ankle-length skirt. He wore matching stiletto pumps, a style reminiscent of a bygone era. As a salesgirl adjusted the hem, Noah could see the boy's tears. Meanwhile, the women observing the fitting looked thrilled, their faces beaming with delight. Noah thought he heard one woman say, "Oh Donald, stop crying. This dress is lovely. You'll be the prettiest boy at your school dance. The date we've arranged won't be able to take his eyes off you. And just wait until you see the adorable first stole that matches your dress." As the video continued, with Ms. Montgomery navigating the store and detailing their services, Noah felt his stomach churn. Was this what Samantha had planned for him? Why else would they be here? He glanced at Samantha, who wore a smug, satisfied expression. Noah's panic escalated. He forgot about the threats, his father, Biff, and everyone else. All he could think about was escaping. As he bolted for the door, Samantha rose to follow, but Ms. Montgomery merely gestured for her to stay seated. "Don't worry. It's a common reaction," Ms. Montgomery said calmly. "Here at the Sissy Mister, we're well equipped to handle reluctant sissies who haven't fully embraced their true selves." She activated an intercom. "Max, please attend to the boy at the front door." Captivated, Samantha watched as Noah reached the front door, desperately trying to escape. The door, however, was locked from the inside. As Noah struggled, he didn't notice the large woman approaching behind him. In one smooth motion, the woman twisted Noah's arm behind his back and effortlessly lifted him onto his toes. Samantha observed in awe as the woman guided Noah towards the back of the store. "I'm afraid young Master Noah is about to receive a lesson in discipline from one of our staff. Honestly, I think it's Max's favorite part of the job. Now, what do you think of our little operation?" Ms. Montgomery asked. "Oh, Doris," Samantha replied with enthusiasm. "This is absolutely perfect for what I have in mind for my stepson. I want him to become the swishiest little sissy boy imaginable. This place is a dream come true. How do we get started?" Ms. Montgomery handed Samantha a detailed folder containing a questionnaire and several release forms. "We like to learn as much as we can about our little darlings so we can tailor their experience. We also post pictures and bios of all our new girls on our website. Here's a description of all our services, including our medical products. You just need to decide which ones are most suitable for your Noah and return the form to me." As the women chatted and sipped tea, Max returned with a red-faced, dejected Noah. It was clear he had been crying, with tears still streaming down his cheeks. Samantha barely noticed his tender, cautious steps, her focus instead on his attire, a pink satin smock with a large, stiff white collar and matching slippers. A huge black bow grazed his chin, and the hem of the smock was adorned with a wide black ribbon tied in a large bow just below his knees. The tight ribbon gave the smock a bubble shape, forcing him to take only small, mincing steps. As Samantha laughed with delight, Ms. Montgomery fixed Noah with a penetrating gaze. "Ah, I see Noah is ready for some shopping. I trust we won't have any more issues, will we, Noah?" Noah, rubbing his bottom unconsciously, responded, "No, ma'am." "Excellent." Ms. Montgomery approached Noah and adjusted the collar of his smock. "Tell me, Noah, darling, are you fully out yet?" she asked with a mocking smile. Noah looked at her, confused. Noting his bewilderment, Ms. Montgomery continued, stroking his hair gently. What I mean is, do you dress as a sissy boy all the time? Even at school? Noah recoiled from her touch. Of course not. I'm a boy, and I dress like one, at school and everywhere else. I see. So, you're keeping your girly side a secret between you and mommy? Yeah. I mean, no. Well, we don't want to rush things, do we? Let's go find you some items that will help you look and feel more girlish. All right? Ms. Montgomery said with a saccharine smile as she led Noah across the store, with his stepmother following closely. With an iron grip that made Noah wince, Ms. Montgomery led him to the lingerie section. Let's start with some delicate undergarments for you, shall we? Here's a little something I know you'll just adore, Noah. We call them pansy panties. Noah cringed as he examined the garment Ms. Montgomery presented. It resembled a cross between a panty and a girdle and looked uncomfortably small. Well, what are you waiting for? I know you're eager to try it on. You can't wait to see how pretty you look, can you? You pathetic little sissy. Go ahead. It's just us girls, she taunted. A glance at Max confirmed Noah's only choice was to comply. Blushing deeply at the women's laughter, Noah squirmed as he tried to fit into the panty girdle. The garment, with its lace and satin panels, gripped him tightly, feeling like a vice around his body. It pushed his private parts towards the rear, giving him a distinctly feminine appearance. The wide lace waistband stretched just under his ribs, compressing his waist nearly as effectively as a corset. The padding on his hips created an exaggerated, feminine shape, which Ms. Montgomery described as adorable. Ms. Montgomery removed Noah's smock and made him walk across the store so Samantha could admire his new figure. The giggles and approving murmurs from the store's patrons were unmistakable. The other boys in the store, sharing silent looks of sympathy, knew they too would soon be on display. Noah's face burned with humiliation as he felt his new hips jiggle with each step. Samantha was delighted and insisted Noah choose a dozen pairs of the panty girdles, declaring she would dispose of all his boxers and briefs when they got home. As Noah grappled with the unsettling reality of wearing a panty girdle full-time, Ms. Montgomery moved to a rack of lacy bras and returned with a heavily frilled black bra with lace cups. Of course, a delicate sissy like you needs bras to match your new panties. This is from our line of sissy training bras, boy bras. Isn't it just fabulous? Samantha chuckled in approval as Ms. Montgomery roughly slipped the bra over Noah's arms and shoulders. Like the panties, the bra was heavily padded with gel, giving Noah a small but distinctly feminine chest. To his horror, he saw in the mirror that the bra's cups were pointed, reminiscent of a design Madonna wore in an old music video. Ms. Montgomery and Samantha laughed heartily at Noah's dismayed expression. This is a modern twist on the bullet bra design from the 50s. Just perfect for our little sissy here. Boys will love how your little chests stick out. But be careful not to poke anyone's eye out, Ms. Montgomery joked as Noah slumped in despair, the women's laughter echoing around him. A flash from a camera snapped Noah out of his daze. Smile pretty, darling, Samantha said, directing her digital camera at him. Noah could take no more. No! Stop it. I'm not smiling, and if you think I'm ever going to wear this stuff, you're crazy, he shouted. Samantha glanced at Ms. Montgomery with an amused expression. Ms. Montgomery, in turn, pressed a button, and soon Noah saw Max's imposing figure approaching. Wait! I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Please, Samantha. Noah's pleas went unheard as Max ushered him toward the back of the store. After a few minutes, they returned, Noah's tear-streaked face showing his distress. With Max observing, a stern look on her face, Noah delivered an obviously rehearsed apology, Samantha. Ms. Montgomery. I'm truly sorry for my unladylike behavior. I love my new panties and bra and would really appreciate it if you could take some pictures of me. Please? Samantha laughed. Since you asked so nicely, of course. We'll add these to our new family photo album. But remember, you have to smile pretty, just like when your mommy took pictures. With Max standing by as a silent enforcer, Samantha made Noah pose like a vintage pin-up, his chest prominently displayed. Noah forced a big sissy smile, fully aware of the consequences of not cooperating. When Samantha finally finished, Ms. Montgomery approached Noah, adjusting his hair. "We're going to have so much fun with your hair when it grows out a bit. The salon ladies will adore you. Imagine how your schoolmates will react to your girly new hairstyle." Noah struggled to keep his anger in check. Eventually, Noah found himself heading to the car, his new bras and panties, except for the ones he was wearing, neatly packed in large pink prissy Mr. shopping bags. He tried to hunch over to conceal his bulging bags, but it barely helped. He could hear the snickers and laughter trailing behind him. He felt numb with humiliation and fear, dreading what Samantha had planned next. The thought of her enjoying his public ridicule made him anxious that this was just the beginning.